Chapter 1, and we're going to get into variables and expressions. And so these are definitions of things that you already should know. All right, you already should know about an expression. An expression is a sum and or product of numbers. Basically, an expression is like half of an equation. All right? It's just like the equation without the equal sign. And so that's what an expression is. A variable is a symbol used to represent numbers or values. Okay, variable. X is used a lot, N is used a lot, but you can use anything. Now notice the key word there, they said it's a symbol. And so you could also use like a square, you could use a triangle, you could use a circle. A term is a number, variable, or a product or quotient of numbers and variables. And so down here below, we have what is an expression. This is an example of an expression. And we call the terms specific things. Example, we call 2x a variable term because it has a variable. Okay? We call 4 a constant term because it just has a number without the variable. Okay, so 2x plus 4, like I said, we call the 2x a variable term because it has a variable. We call 4 a constant term because it has just a number. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. If you didn't get everything written down, I'll come back to that, and then you can finish towards the end, so just go ahead and leave a spot. Okay, but this is factors and products. I don't know if you necessarily need to write down all of these definitions because, like I said, these should be reviewed. A factor is a quantity being multiplied. A product is the result of a multiplication problem. So when you multiply two numbers together, you get a product. So down here, I've written all the different ways you can symbolize a multiplication problem. X, Y, that's, oops, I didn't mean to move it, but that's one way. Okay? X dot Y, that's another way. X and then parentheses around Y, that's another way. Parentheses around the X times Y, and then parentheses around both. These all indicate multiplication problems. Now, one of the ways I didn't write, because I thought it would kind of be too confusing, is this. I mean, that's probably the one that you're most familiar with. Okay, but these other ones are all other ways that you can symbolize multiplication problems. Okay, a power. This is review as well. X to the n means x to the nth power. That's it. So it could be x to the 4th power, x to the 3rd power. Exponent indicates the number of times the base is used as a factor, and the base is referred to as x. So example, if I had 5 to the 4th power, what does that mean? Yeah, go ahead. 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. So basically, 5 to the 4th power means you're going to use 4 5s, and you're going to multiply them. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and look at an example. Write a verbal expression for each algebraic expression. Okay, write a verbal expression for each algebraic expression. So I'm going to want to put this into words. So how could I put that into words? Ideas? What would that be? Say it louder, please. You're perfect.
3 times x to the 4th power.
3 times x to the 4th power. Okay? So if you had 3x to the 4th, you would just write that as 3 times x to the 4th power. Okay, next one. Somebody want to take a shot at that?
5 times z to the 2nd power plus 16.
Right. Okay. I actually did something I think a little shorter. I did 5 times z squared. That's the same thing. You could do z squared, you could do z to the 2nd power, doesn't matter. You could also say the product of 5 and z squared plus 16. The very last one.
1/2 times A minus 7/2 times
7/2 times what?
A times B.
There you go. Okay, now I did something a little different. Instead of putting times, I just did of, because remember, of means times. So you could do of, you could do times, it doesn't matter. But you could have 1/2 of A or 1/2 times A minus 7/2 of B or 7/2 times B. Okay. So that's going to be the first part of your homework. Pretty straightforward. You've done this before, so it should be nothing new. Okay. Should be some review. All right, so let's go and see what we have on the next slide. You don't need to write this down, okay? Don't worry about writing this down. Let's just go through it, because this is a table taken from your book. Addition. These are all the words that indicate addition. More than, sum, plus, increased by, and added to. Those all mean that you're going to add. Okay, for subtraction, less than, subtracted from, difference, decreased by, minus. Those all indicate subtraction. Okay. Multiplication, product of, multiplied by, times, and of. And then when we get to division, we don't have many choices. I mean, there aren't a whole lot left. Okay, for division, just quotient of and divided by. So division is kind of one of those that's pretty obvious. So notice what it says. It says write an algebraic expression for each verbal expression. So basically what this is this is the reverse. So we started with an expression and we put it into words. We're starting with words now and we're putting it into an expression. Okay, should be fairly easy. Let's look at this one. It says a number x more than 6. What would it be? So what would the expression look like? There, thank you. Say it louder.
6 plus x.
6 plus x. Good. A number x more than 6. 10 less than the product of 7 and k. Now real quick, whenever you have a less than, this is really important, you're going to leave a space and then you're going to put, in this case, minus 10. So leave a space and then I'm going to put minus 10. So whenever you have that less than, if it would be like 5 less than, you would leave a space and put minus 5. Okay? And it says the product of. What does product mean? Multiplication. So I got a multiplication sign somewhere here. 7 and k. What would that be? 7 times k. Yep. So I end up having 7 times k minus 10. Biggest thing I want you to take from this, when you have a less than, this is really, 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 really important. When you have a less than, you leave a space and then put your minus. Do not start with that. Okay? 2/3 of the volume V. What's this one going to be? Perfect. 2/3 times V. Okay, you start with 2/3 of means times V. Like I said, this should be review. You've done this before. Okay, very last thing we're going to look at today, okay, before we move on to your quiz. All right. Here we go. Mr. Martin, he ordered 250 keychains printed with his team's logo and 500 pencils printed with their address. Write an algebraic expression that represents the cost of the order. So I've got 250 keychains, right? So the cost of the keychains is going to be 250 times k. So the next one. Yes? Yep, yep. Yep, yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so 500 pencils. What would symbolize that? 500 P. What am I going to do with those? Add them together, and that's your answer. That's it, because it says algebraic expression. Let's look at this next one. Mr. Hanson purchased some groceries that cost D dollars. He paid with a $50 bill. Write an expression for the amount of change he will receive. What one would that be? 50 minus D. Good job, because you start with 50, subtract D. There you go. Shouldn't be too hard. Questions? All right, your assignment, pages 7 and 8. Now this is different. It's not the P section anymore. Pages 7 and 8, 12 through 34, the events. So make sure you get the right page this time.